Chapter 1. Just a joke. Right? I used to think I was funny. The kind of funny that made dinner parties light up and kept friends coming back for more. I was Melody, loud, opinionated, maybe a little harsh but never boring. Richard, my husband of 5 years, was the opposite. Quiet, dependable, soft-spoken. He balanced me out. We had what most people would call a good marriage. He handled the boring stuff, bills, fixing things, managing passwords. I planned the vacations, picked the restaurants, posted the cute couple pics with #blessed captions. I cracked jokes at his expense, but hey, it was just my way. He never complained. Until the night he did. We were hosting one of our usual dinner parties, wine flowing, everyone on their third or fourth glass. Someone brought up a friend who had remarried less than 2 years after her husband died. I don't know why I said it, maybe I was tipsy, maybe it was just one of those things, but I turned to Richard and blurted, "Honestly, if you died, I'd probably be remarried within a year. I'm just not built to be alone." I even added, "Might even upgrade." Laughter died in the room. My friend Trisha chuckled nervously. Richard didn't. His face just fell. After everyone left, he asked me quietly, "Why would you say something like that, Melody?" I waved it off, told him it was a joke. But the way he looked at me, like I'd reached into his chest and crushed something, I'll never forget it. That night was the first time Richard didn't come to bed. And I thought, he's just being sensitive. I had no idea I just pulled the first thread, unraveling everything. Chapter 2. Cracks in the silence. Richard wasn't the type to sulk. That's what made it strange when, the morning after the party, he barely said a word. I asked if he was still mad about my stupid joke. He just shook his head and said, "I'm not mad, Melody. I'm disappointed." That hit different. But I still brushed it off. Disappointed? Over a joke? Over the next few weeks, Richard started changing in subtle ways. He used to get home like clockwork. Now he came in late, said it was work, but gave no details. He used to handle the bills, the trash, the dishes, without being asked. Suddenly he forgot. Said, "I figured you'd take care of it this month." Then came the phone. He was on it constantly, angling the screen away when I got close. One night, I picked it up from the table to check the time. He snatched it back. "Since when do you have secrets?" I asked, half joking. "Since when do you respect my privacy?" He shot back. That shut me up. I started snooping. Checked his phone when he showered. Gave him the silent treatment when he didn't laugh at my jokes. Criticized him more in front of friends, trying to remind him who held the power. But instead of reeling him in like always, he just kept drifting further. I told myself people don't end marriages over one rough patch. Over one dumb comment at a dinner party. I kept telling myself that, right up until the day I walked in to find him sitting at the kitchen table, phone in hand, and said the words I'd been dreading. "We need to talk." Chapter 3. Playback and proof. When Richard said, "We need to talk," I thought, finally. We'd air it out, have a fight, maybe even make up. That's how it always went. But what he did next, I never saw coming. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. He simply tapped his phone screen. And suddenly my voice filled the kitchen. "God, Richard, even your brother has more personality than you, and he works with spreadsheets all day." My stomach dropped. He tapped again. Another clip. My laugh. A snide comment I barely remembered saying. And another. And another. "You're recording me?" I snapped. He looked calm, too calm. My therapist suggested I record our interactions, to help me recognize patterns. Toxic ones. Therapist? Since when? "Since 2 months ago," he said. "Since I realized how unhappy I am." I couldn't breathe. He continued, "I used to think your teasing was just part of who you are. But when I listened back, I heard it for what it really is. You belittle me. In front of friends. Online. At home. That's just my humor." I protested, voice rising. "You knew that when you married me." He leaned forward. "And I accepted it. That's on me. But I won't keep accepting it." Then he said it. "I'm considering divorce, Melody." I laughed, because that's what I do when I'm uncomfortable. But this time he didn't laugh back. Chapter 4. Everyone knew but me. After he left that night, duffel bag by the door like he'd been planning it, I sat in our too-quiet house waiting for him to come back. I told myself it was a phase. That he'd cool off. That he'd realize he was overreacting and come home like always. But a week passed. Then 2. When I called, he kept it polite. Cold. When I suggested he come back so we could talk properly, he simply said, "I'm not ready." So I tried everything. Angry texts. Tearful voicemails. Even flirtatious photos. Nothing worked. I reached out to friends hoping they'd talk some sense into him. that they'd remind him how good we were together. Instead, they turned on me. Trisha, my so-called best friend, met me for coffee and said, "Mel, I think you should listen to what Richard's saying. The way you talk to him, it's not okay." I stared at her like she'd grown a second head. "It's just my humor," I snapped. "He's always known that." She stirred her coffee and said, "There's a difference between being witty and constantly putting someone down. Even my mom betrayed me. Said maybe Richard never spoke up because I didn't make it safe for him to." That was the moment it hit me. I wasn't just losing Richard. I was losing everyone. But I still thought I could fix it. Until the day I tore apart his desk looking for tax papers, and found the letter. Assigned intervention. Jake, Gil, Trisha, others. Line by line, it cataloged every joke, every dig, every dismissal. A full record of my so-called harmless personality. I sat there shaking. Furious. How dare they? But the scariest part wasn't the betrayal. It was the growing realization that maybe they were right. Chapter 5. The joke's on me. 1 year. That's how long it's been since I made the joke that shattered everything. Richard and I are officially divorced. He moved to that other city, took the job I once told him he wasn't allowed to take. And judging by the posts I stalked from a fake account, he looks happier than he ever was with me. I haven't had a second date in months. Turns out, without years of emotional investment, my sharp wit reads more like bitterness. 2 different men told me I was too negative after one dinner. Me, Melody, the one who used to light up every room. And then came the final blow. A photo. Trisha, my best friend, at a baseball game, leaning into Richard. Caption, "Perfect day with this one." I dropped my phone. Rage, betrayal, nausea, all of it hit at once. I called her immediately, my voice shaking with fury. "You backstabbing witch. You wanted him the whole time, didn't you?" She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just said, "Melody, this is exactly the kind of thing that pushed him away." I screamed. Cursed. Accused her of planting the intervention letter, turning everyone against me. Her reply. "You did that all on your own." Later that night I texted Richard, one final jab. Real classy. Trading up with my best friend. Guess I was right about the upgrade. His reply came hours later. 3 words. "You broke us." And that was it. I blocked them both. But I still check. I still look at their photos. Still imagine what it would have been like if I just said sorry that night instead of rolling my eyes. Sometimes I miss the comfort, the security of knowing Richard would always handle the hard stuff. Other times I'm still furious. At him. At her. At everyone. But mostly, I'm furious at myself. Because I joked that if he died, I'd remarry in a year. And now, he's very much alive. And I'm the one left alone, still laughing, but this time the joke's on me.